Hello, welcome to today's The Word in the Flash. I'm Dr. Freddie B. Wilson. Today's subject is fighting addictions. A relative of mine asked me what my thoughts were on addiction. I had to think about that for a while because I had recently had conversations with friends of mine about this very subject. So I had to pray hard for the Lord to show me what He would have me say to move His people forward from addictions. Today we're going to discuss these and some of the other private and personal ones some of you struggle with. But first, let me share with you a few facts. I'm going to use these facts to show that addiction is a distraction from true Christian living. Some information I found shows that alcoholism is the number one addiction affecting Americans today. Binge drinking is more common in men. 9.1% of men 12 and older reported heavy drinking 5 or more days in a month, while only 2.6% of those were women reported the same thing. Out of 16.6 million people with alcoholism, 2.6 million were also dependent on other illicit substances. According to the Addiction Center, they conducted a survey that shows 21.5 million American adults aged 12 and older battle with some sort of substance abuse. They did a survey in 2010 of college students that shows that alcohol was the number one substance abused by that age group. About half the American population in American prisons and jails suffer from addiction, according to the NCAAD. Around 3/4 of the individuals in state prison and local jail suffering from mental illnesses also struggle from substance abuse. Additional research showed that over 20 million Americans over the age 12 have some sort of addiction. That's excluding tobacco. 2.6 million people with addictions have a dependence on both alcohol and illicit drugs. So a lot of people are very familiar with the alcohol and the drug abuse issue we have here in America. One problem they don't talk about much is sex addiction. We, even in the church, some of us suffer from sex addiction. According to Psychology Today, hypersexual sex addiction disorder is a proposed diagnosis for people who have an excessive amount of sex and feel stressed as a result. There's a debate, however, whether or not sex addiction is really a true diagnosis. Hypersexual disorder is a controversial diagnosis. According to Psych Central, Dr. Michael Herkhoff said that sexual addiction is best defined as a progressive intimacy disorder characterized by by compulsive sexual thoughts and acts. Like all addiction, its negative impact on addiction to family members increases as the disorder progresses. From some sex addicts, some behavior does not progress beyond compulsive masturbation or excessive use of pornography or things like phone sex and computer sex services. The good thing is sex addicts do not necessarily become sex offenders. Another thing that we deal with, and we men, some people in the church deal with, sometimes you don't acknowledge it, but it's there. According to Project Now, Leah Miller wrote that although many medical psychiatric professionals do not treat this compulsion as pornographic as being an addiction, the symptoms of porn addiction are often very similar to those that signify an addiction to drugs and alcohol. The warning signs of porn addiction may include being unable to stop using porn or stop engaging in the behavior associated with porn, despite repeated attempts to do so. Approximately 9% of viewers reported they had some made unsuccessful attempts to stop. Again, this is where you really need to count on the name of Jesus. These facts just help me show that these problems are real and we need to address it even in the church. One of my local pastors here said people are dominated by self-centered passions. These passions could be physical, material, financial, or spiritual. I think addiction is sin in disguise. Any behavior that keeps you from doing the will of God is distraction that keeps you from listening to God's will for you and having you rely on it more than you rely on God. I encourage you to now know the source of your addiction: sin. It may be harder for some of you than others, but I encourage you to identify your addiction. Once you do, call on the name of Jesus that God will deliver you from your addiction. Once you do, never look back to or go back to that former addiction. You don't need to be anywhere near what you were doing before. Psalms 143, 8 through 10 reads, "Let me hear of your unfailing love each morning, for I am trusting you. Show me where to walk, for I give myself to you. Rescue me from my enemies, Lord. I run to you to hide me. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. May your gracious spirit lead me forward on a firm footing." Unlike simple bad habits, addiction have a strong hold on you more than just a simple bad habit. So again, you should never go near the source of your addiction. You don't need to be around it. You don't need to dabble in it. You don't need to even think about it. I'll have you know there's always hope in God, no matter what you're going through. I want you to know that no matter what you've done, God can deliver you from it all. You don't have to try to fight addictions by yourself. Call on and depend on the name of Jesus. Stay blessed.